Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's Tom out here in front of my house on a nice summer day, bringing you some good news, which is that the legislature wrapped up this past week, and we have a budget that's not nearly as difficult as I thought it was going to be. We thought we were going to be looking at 14% budget cuts. We ended up with a budget that cut about 10%, which, considering the revenue slowdowns from the pandemic, was really good news. The governor was able to contribute about $250 million, I believe, from the rainy day fund. The legislature was able to shift some monies around and find additional monies to really ease the burden on our agency. So what does that mean for our staff? It means that we will not be having furlough days as we anticipated. That's great news, I think, for most of us. I know for some it's going to be an inconvenience. Some folks may have already gone out and gotten a part-time job because they thought their income may fall during this coming year. Some folks may have made concrete plans. I'm sorry about that, but I do think that the fact that we have no furlough days is a great thing. And if you did make plans, of course, for July 2nd, which was supposed to be our first furlough day, I would just ask you to either work that day, or if your plans are set in stone, just take that as an annual or personal leave day. We also got really good news about our offices. So, of course, at DFCS, we have an office in each of Georgia's 159 counties. We thought that we were going to have to close or consolidate some of those offices to save money, but the legislature found funds to allow us to keep all of our offices open, and that, I think, is good news, because it means we'll have a strong physical presence in each county in Georgia. Also, the legislature was able to really shift some monies around, so we did not have to cut some significant funding that we were using federal TANF dollars for some of our after-school programs. That money's been restored, and we also were able to restore some TANF funding that allows us to purchase residential substance use treatment beds for the folks that we work with, for our families. So overall, I think the budget was good news, and I'm very, very grateful to the legislative leaders who worked so hard to find the money to make sure that this agency can continue to serve the people of Georgia. Also, another piece of good news we got out of the legislature was passage of several very valuable bills, one of which I want to highlight is House Bill 993. We worked with the governor's office, the lieutenant governor's office, the prosecuting attorney's council, all of our providers at Together Georgia, Voices for Georgia's Children, and many others to repeal the child abuse registry. When it was put in 2016, I think it was a good idea, but I think we found that in practicality it was really difficult to manage. It cost us about $1.5 million to $2 million each year, both in actual expenses plus staff time. Children were having to go and testify in these things, which could be traumatic for them, testify in the hearings. And so we're shifting back to a system in which we do more internal administrative hearings when we have a substantiation of child abuse or neglect. And I'm very grateful for all those who realize that sometimes there are unintended consequences to well-meaning legislation, and it's good when you can recognize those unintended consequences and repeal the legislation. Let's see what else we got going on. So this week we're going to have folks who will be able to go back into the office if they want to. We, of course, have been continuing to encourage folks to telework whenever they can. But I know that there are some folks who want to go back in the offices, who appreciate working in an office environment. But I would ask those folks, if they do go back in, remember, you're not required to, but let's make sure we're wearing masks, that we're washing our hands, that we're practicing social distancing. And we know that the COVID virus is still present. Apparently the numbers are spiking, especially, I understand, in places like Florida and Texas. Please be careful, and please, if you can continue to telework, please do. Child welfare, we sent out a survey about COVID and sort of the COVID environment, doing child welfare in the COVID environment. And I've sent the results out of that survey to our child welfare staff. I think it was a really interesting survey. We asked about how, what folks thought about teleworking, what they were able to, whether they felt supported while they were teleworking during COVID, whether they felt like they had what they needed. And I think the results were very interesting and really encouraging. I think about 60% of our staff said they really, really enjoyed teleworking and felt that they could do their jobs well while teleworking. But again, we know there are folks who like being in that office environment, so we're going to try to work out sort of a hybrid situation where we encourage teleworking for the next few months, but if people do need to go to the office to work, that they could do so while taking those precautions. So June 2020 was, of course, Reunification Month. It's the last day of the month now. I want to recognize some of the reunification heroes who were highlighted on social media this month. Vivian Carter, Maya Wright, Brianna Miller, Valerie Waters, Christina Fletcher, Nathaniel Long, Tijuana Tyus, and Sarah Swan. And I've also been able to participate in at least one of our regional reunification celebrations. And it's been great to see these, doing it by Microsoft Teams, but we're having the caseworkers and some of the families that we worked with talk about the reunification process, talk about their work with the agency. And I just want to congratulate all of those who were given awards, whether you're a case manager or a foster parent or a family. We did some fun celebrations of Reunification Month. This coming month is Teen and Siblings Appreciation Month for July. We know that we have the ability and the opportunity and also the obligation to focus on the specific needs of siblings who are in care and of teens who are in care. We know that there are about 3,000 teenagers in foster care, 14 or over on any given day. We know that they have not only the need to be cared for, but they also have the need to be put in a situation where they can learn life skills, where they can get their education, where they can really grow into young adults. And we have the opportunity, and I think, as I said, the duty to help them with that. We also know, of course, that siblings who are in care need to be together whenever possible. And when they cannot be together for some reason, we need to make sure that we are supporting sibling visitation as much as possible. We always, of course, are looking for foster parents who will take larger sibling groups, who will take teens. So if you're interested in helping with these particular young folks, certainly appreciate you getting in touch with us and letting us know. Let's see, we got a lot going on, and kind of going through my notes here today. I think we need to talk a little bit about Georgia Gateway. Apparently, I think Gateway was just recently updated to include some system changes that will resolve tickets that are reported by customers and staff through the help desk. Many of the changes are going to improve the way that Medicaid is processed, including ensuring that no one is removed from Medicaid who should not be. And I think there's going to be some more automation and thanks to these upgrades. So I think that's good news. We also are rolling out the additional LIHEAP funding. Of course, low-income heating assistance, or going to be cooling assistance as well. So as of July 1st, there's about $44 million in additional LIHEAP funding for the people of the state of Georgia that we are administering through generally through our community action agencies. I think they're going to prioritize some folks who are already on the list, and then as of August 1st, folks can apply for that. And Ramirez is going to put a website on the screen as to where folks can go to get that. Of course, our SNAP and TANF and Medicaid application timeliness is great right now. Actually, I'm going to be on a call with federal staff from the Congressional Agriculture Committee later today to talk just about how the flexibility that we've been given during this time of COVID has really allowed us to process a lot more TANF, a lot more Medicaid, a lot more SNAP in a much more efficient way. And so we're hoping that they will give us the opportunity to keep some of the waivers we've gotten so that we can continue this efficient work. That's all I got for today. But like I said, it's Independence Day is coming up. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you we're living in a country where we're free. We're free to not only to worship as we feel, to speak as we feel, and we're free to care about each other and show each other that we care about each other. And I'm not sure, it's a freedom, but it's also, I think, an obligation and an opportunity. So enjoy your week. We'll see you next week. Thank you.